This is Barely News, where you bear with me making a fool of myself while I read the news. Like, nothing too serious this week other than, everybody's falling for the distraction of, Trump indictment. What's the big things right now that you keep hearing about?
You're the news guy. I'm so out of it. I get my news through Barely News.
Oh, the Bud Light thing.
Okay.
Shut up about Bud Light. I don't give a crap what side of this you're on. These are distractions, okay? We're at the brink. Like, the West is at the brink of economic collapses. Like, Germany, France, Israel, they're all having crazy riots. Like, if you live in these countries and you want to order stuff from other countries, they're sending out notices like, hey, it's going to take longer to get there because your ports are being blocked, your shipping routes are being blocked. So yeah, Donald Trump's being indicted. We're, constantly escalating tensions between Israel, Iran, the West and East, China, United States. But no, everyone's going on about beer and Donald Trump. I don't want to be too serious here. Like, this is all about, like, being informed but not taking stuff too seriously. But come on, shut up about Bud Light. It's garbage anyway. It's well known that it's just a crap beer. I did find something funny. Like, I'll say this one funny thing just to kind of lighten it up a bit. But I don't know who it was, but it's like, oh, it's Babylon Bee. It's like a beverage that pretends to be beer hires a man pretending to be a woman as spokesperson. This is funny because, like, I love that on both levels. Yeah, it's garbage beer. But honestly, it's such... there's so many more important things going on right now. And everybody, has to hop on the bandwagon. Either you're... Oh, look at the right-wing guys, the little snowflakes. They're always making fun of us, and they're getting triggered over a beer. It's like, well, your side a month ago was threatening to kill people over a Wizard video game. There's no good guys and bad guys here. It's just a bunch of stupid people falling for crap. Become more balanced with this stuff and recognize what it is, or just ignore it and focus on yourself. Now all that seriousness has been done, let's do some silly stuff, some funny news, Canadian news mostly. Because I'm always on topic of microwave popcorn, forever chemicals, toxic crap in our food. Let's talk about this. Oh crap, I pressed the wrong one. I want to go back to that one. The Forbes 30 under 30, why are so many of them in prison? Like, I haven't read the article, but I can guarantee it's something like, oh, I don't know, the elite people, like the Hollywood, all the corrupt evil people, they kind of, like, when they're bringing new young people in, they kind of go for the, the snakes, the people like them, but they're just not as good at it, so they get caught. That's my theory. We'll talk about that in a minute. I want to talk about microwave popcorn full of forever chemicals. See, what happens with Google, so what I do with this is... I just scroll through Google timeline, like it just throws articles at me because of algorithms and things I click on. It sends me things I want to hear about, or things I want to hear about. And health is a big thing for me. So last time I did something on forever chemicals and then popcorn making people infertile. So now it's like your microwave popcorn bags are full of harmful forever chemicals. I knew this. Maybe some people watching didn't know this though. I talked about with you popcorn lung. The factory workers getting this illness because of the chemicals in the freaking powder, and we just shovel this in our face at the movie theaters and everything else.
Do you ever eat popcorn?
I hate popcorn.
Really?
But I had braces as a teenager, and it just traumatized me so much. Anything like candy apples, anything that would get stuck in my braces and just be the worst, I can't eat now, even though I haven't had braces in like 15 years. That sucked to say. I'm not even that old. 15 years ago. Where was this study done? Bags in America and Indonesia found PFAS. Forever chemicals. I guess what that acronym means, something related to forever chemicals. Yeah, like before I establish it lowers your fertility. That's the green theme. That's the green theme, right? It's like stop having babies. Yeah, dude, this is like a continuation of last time. It was talking about the food wrappers, like the eco-friendly food packaging, bunch of forever chemicals. If you're not worried about becoming infertile because you plan on never having kids, well, another thing they talk about is kidneys and liver. Last time I talked about, they're not important either. So don't worry about all this forever chemicals. Who needs a kidney? Kidneys. Who needs a liver? PFAS are related to issues around fertility and blah, blah, blah. Scientists likened it to an apocalyptic scenario, something like The Handmaid's Tale. Can't go through something. Like, how is that still relevant? This is boring and stupid. Don't eat popcorn unless you make it yourself. That's a lot of food. Don't eat it unless you make it yourself. I work at Best Buy. Customers always ask some crazy questions. Just let me do my job and don't be suspicious. This might be clickbait. If it is, it totally worked because I was like, that's a ridiculous title. I gotta click on this. A TikTok creator, not gonna say her name, frequently shared experience working for American retailer Best Buy. In one of her most recent videos, she reenacted a voiceover that showcased a frustrating... How is this news? Why is some random chick's TikTok news? That showcased a frustrating part of her job. The video depicts an exchange between two women, both of whom are played by the TikToker. Okay, this is wasting my time. The best woman asked her again to identify her phone model. This time the woman says she's not sure, but the exchange takes a turn where she also refuses to show the employee her phone. At the end of the conversation, the woman accused Best Buy employee of being complicated. This is what I have to choose from. The end of the world, West collapsing, World War III stuff, or people arguing at Best Buy. I don't like this segment anymore, Vitaly. How did she expect you to change the protector without her touching the phone? Blah, blah. The TikTok user said, yep. This is 100% accurate and happens 4 to 10 times a day at my store, somebody remarked. Just crazy as some people acted. How? What a tremendous waste of time. There's got to be a point here. Just bear with me. No, that's it. That's it. It got me. Freaking. I love, speaking of titles, the Webb telescope dropping new images of Uranus. I practiced that so I wouldn't crack up. Deep down, I'm just a 13-year-old apparently. And it's moons after 19-year wait. So get some space news because I wanted to be an immature person. Oh my god, they're doing it on purpose too. This is Forbes and their wording is on purpose. Like 12-minute exposure image. They're setting me up for failure, Vitaly. A 12-minute exposure image taken of Uranus. I need help. Seriously, it's such a short article too. It's just saying that we haven't had a good photo of it in 84 years, and it's just more things setting me up for failure. Even more like throwing the word moon in there a lot. This whole thing's been a little too silly, so let's read something serious. But EPA addresses a toxic plant emitting chemicals next to a Louisiana elementary school. And part of me thinks that this is, again, deflection on the fact that there's been... Okay, I've got to be careful with the words I'm using because it's not known fact and there's dancing around it. But what looks to me, it sounds to me, sabotage with factories and stuff like that. So they're like, oh, this one's just being negligent. I'm like, no, you're deflecting from the derailments and the poisons and chemicals that are just spilling from accidents. And I saw a video the other day of a factory just imploding in the United States. And they're like, oh, it's still under investigation, and they're trying to bury it. But I'm like, I don't want it to die because I want to know how the hell happened. It just blew up. I'm like, oh, the comments like, oh, it might have been a gas leak. I'm like, maybe a couple years ago, I would have been like, yeah, sure. I don't know. I'm getting tinfoil hat crazy right now, but why are so many Forbes young heroes facing jail? Why are you still calling them heroes? Because yeah, I guarantee that chick that was like, oh, I made this machine that if you put your blood in it, it'll tell you everything wrong with you, and that was just a full out scam. I'm gonna be careful, but I want to say...
What was it? Was it blood?
Yeah, it was like, apparently you put like a little bit of blood in this machine, it's supposed to give you like all these, and it was just fantasy nonsense. But because she was a woman, the media was just like, yeah, women in tech and blah, blah, blah. And it turned out to be just a huge scam. I want to hear some of these people. Because I know like the Sam Bankman-Fried is probably another one. I want to see someone I don't know about. Elizabeth Holmes, that was her name. Yeah, Elizabeth Holmes was the one that did the fake machine, the blood. Okay, Trevor Milton. Yeah, it just keeps going on about Elizabeth Holmes. So this isn't helping. Like, this is just boring nonsense with these two people. But I guarantee my theory is at least half right. Like, amount of corruption just on all the top levels. Everything from Hollywood to politicians to corporations. Like, they're all can't think of a better word, so bear with me. Incestuous. They all trade people back and forth. The CIA is involved with big tech. CIA and FBI is involved with Hollywood. People have known this for a while, but lately, the last couple of years, it's becoming like the lid's been blown off, and like the normal average people who don't give a crap, they're starting to hear about this stuff. So I'm guaranteeing, like, yeah, these young people are going to prison because they're being handpicked by all these corrupt people because they're corrupt, but because they're new and more people are waking up to the stuff, the police, like, investigation stuff, like removing people like this is getting better, and they're not being prepped on how to avoid it all because the people up top, they don't have to anymore. They know that they can pretty much do anything and get away with it because most people just don't care, or I don't know what it is, but so these younger people, they're not getting taught how to hide it well, and they're getting caught. Well, there's so many things where people jump on it immediately when it first comes out, when they like this Ukraine thing. I wonder how many people at the very beginning were like, yeah, let's send a bunch of money. We got to send money, are now realizing like, oh crap, not only is this going to ensure this war lasts way longer than it would have, there's so much on the table now. Like United States and NATO, like they absolutely need Ukraine to win. Because all that money that they put in, they're expecting to get it back because they like BlackRock and all these builders have all these contracts to rebuild Ukraine after the war. So they're like, we need to get this money back. The only way to get this money back is to win. And Russia's at the point where neither side basically is going to give up. I can't remember who it was who said that they're going to do this war until the last Ukrainian. And there's people now that are probably cluing in. It's like, oh crap, I pushed for that. Now I went from too silly to too serious too quick. Last episode, when I went on Twitter to read the time, I was talking about how the For You was just full of insane, mindless violence.
Yeah, did it change?
Well, no, a couple days ago, I went on YouTube and Charlie from Voice Critical or whatever, he was talking about how that's the case for a lot of people. There's something broken with that. Military guy that was working as an Uber driver during the BLM riots in 2020, he got cornered in an alleyway and some guy pointed an AK at him, so he shot him. He's going to the soldier who's defending himself is not going to prison. Try not to be too serious. Don't take this stuff too serious. Don't let it depress you. Don't let it demotivate you or anything. But like, it's funny how I'm saying all that, and I'm going to say this. Like, I think America's on its way out. America's going to be not number one soon. These are all signs of a collapsing empire. Anyway, let's go to the For You or the trending page.
Just a bump in the road, maybe.
Yeah. The collapse of the West. Woo! Okay. Anyway, let's talk about something else. What is a woman? Go woke. What? ADHD. Rothschilds. But see, here's the difference. For You is all that horrible stuff. Trending, Easter, Good Friday, soccer, NHL. The NHL is hashtag it's bud time. So there's been a lot of interesting stuff going on with the NHL, but the teams refusing to wear the pride jerseys. And now it's funny, like, so baseball and hockey. So hockey's like Canada's biggest sport, even though it's not our national sport. Every time I talk about hockey, we're like, it's lacrosse. I'm like, shut up. No one cares about lacrosse. It's hockey. And baseball for the United States, right? And hockey.
Baseball?
Yeah. It's their biggest sport, believe it or not. Maybe I'm making a mistake where it's like the lacrosse hockey thing, but baseball is America's thing. And the NHL are two that have been resisting all this woke stuff. And I think it's because they know, like, they're like, okay, yeah, ESG scores one thing, but the majority of our base is going to be like, no, and we're going to lose so much money. It's like, yeah, we'll gain. But here's the thing. I think a lot of these companies are like, well, if we increase our ESG score, we can get money that way from those big corporation banks, stuff like that. So what if we lose a little bit from the fans? I don't know. I know it's all a bunch of nonsense, and like I said, it's all signs of a collapsing empire, but you think what you want and do what you like, your thing. I don't follow the NHL too much. Like, I'm more of a, when it comes to sports, I like playing them, don't like watching them. I watched the Australian Open though. I set an alarm for 4:30 in the morning, checked it, went back to sleep. Like, oh cool, he won. I like to play tennis more than watch. Same with hockey, basketball, baseball. Yeah, so SmackDown, like wrestling, like most of my trending is sports, which again doesn't make sense to me. Edward Snowden is trending. France and Germany. See, this is an interesting thing. Some people have been pointing out that the whole TikTok ban in the States and Canada, not only do they sneak a whole bunch of crazy stuff in the bill, but that's just what America does and what Canada does. They put something, it's usually something like save the puppies, feed the children bill, but inside it's like, let's open the gates of hell. It's usually something like that. That's how they do it. So yeah, they're like, oh, let's ban this Chinese spyware on the surface, and on the inside it's like, oh yeah, VPN was illegal, you can get a fine, and
let's ban everything.
Yeah, like the only we can be bombarding the Canadian American public with propaganda and insane stuff. So like what people are using for an example is like if you type in France or Germany on Instagram and all this other stuff, it's just tour destinations, nice pictures of sunsets and everything like that. But if you go on TikTok, it's showing you all the riots, the protests, people shutting down all the shipping lanes and stuff like that. Like, this is what I bring up all the time when people keep going on about NATO. This is going to give me a lot of heat and hate, but NATO just crushing Russia and like all their enemies right now, like with this World War III tension. I'm like, the biggest players in NATO, France, Germany, United States, and UK, maybe the UK, I don't know. Three of them are like the brink of like civil war, like, or just complete, like, the people are not getting along there and the people are not happy. And some, like, I know UK and United States, like, their economy is not doing well either. And what scares me though is like usually countries when like throughout history, Britain and the United States, whenever their countries in a financial situation, they start a war. I want to go camping. I want to go in the woods. I want to get away from this stuff. It's almost gardening season. I'm excited. I got to start building my garden beds. Actually, something I did. I'm gonna do. I don't know. I might just post a clip of it or something. I don't know if I'm gonna do a full video, but I started building squat bars. Because I was looking online how much they are. It's like $200. I'm like, I just buy $40 worth of lumber and make my own. Stupid. Think outside the box. Upgrade your mind. Are we done with this? I feel so weird right now. Like part of me is like, cause I had a coffee and stuff. And I just finished a workout. I've got good energy going, like pumping. I'm hyped, but all this stuff is just bringing me down. Like this is me talking to myself. It's like if you want to stay informed, but you have a problem with staying informed but getting brought down by all these terrible things, is like stay informed but focus on you, like your circle, what you can change, right? Like what you can affect. Like yeah, your country might be going down like down like hell in a handbasket, but what can you do to change your circle, right? So change yourself, better yourself, and then that will then spill over to helping better your family. That will help with bettering your neighborhood. Like, you know, talk to your neighbors, help them out, get them, like motivate them. That will spill into your community, then your town, then your province or your state, and then your country. You gotta start like focus on what you can fix right now. So yeah, stay informed, but don't let it get to you.